Alright, Kyle's second match. Let's see how this goes. Typical World Star. Thank Brett Haas for having everybody record everything in World Star mode. It is the worst. Obviously, Kyle's a wrestler because every other person from Taikai would have been screaming at to pull guard by now. Nice shot. So, immediately. So, guys, passing series that Kyle is going through right now is fine. But when he initially lands here, I really want to see you do everything you can, Kyle, to start to drive your head to that, just slightly outside of his setter line there. Okay, I want him carrying your weight with your head. Because on better guys, these knees are going to be an issue, and we don't want them to frame and have your head out of position also, okay? I might even have gone for a weave pass right here. He takes traditional half, which is his fault right there. And now we're back into the 100% pass. So just like we talked about before, see how your leg right here, Kyle, isn't perpendicular, okay, or lined up with his hips, whatever you want it to be right now. This is not a good spot, okay? You're still very parallel on here, which is okay when you're starting to settle, but that leg needs to be out. Which is why I think you never quite, you can tell you don't feel comfortable. Like you see when you figure four, you actually start to tilt your leg in more into the proper spot. I think that's why you feel like you have a better base when you do this, okay? Now you're in a fairly good spot. Yeah, and this is just holding, right? So this isn't passing. So you heard me coaching, bring your foot close to his butt. So you want to actually create a shelf with your knee up like this in order to push the leg off. What you're doing right now would be great if you had a butterfly hook in and you were worried about elevation, but you shouldn't be right here. Careful about going for his neck right here in this situation. It could be a possible spot like what he's doing to regard. You could also get put in deep half, so just be ready about that. You hear me scream crossface. Thanks for actually listening. Same thing, just like last time. You are much better on the 100% pass on this side. I think you have just need more reps on the other side. Turn the hip down. Okay. Okay-ish. But what did we drill? So when we get into position here, we need to not stay with hips neutral, right? So we need to make sure that our hip, I'm going to use the red line and see how this pops up. Our hip angles in this direction, okay? And then we need to take our knee and bring it tight in behind his legs here because we want to make those knees as close together as possible so that when we windshield wiper this leg over the top leg, there's not a huge disconnect. It makes his hooks less likely to create situations that benefit him at that point, okay? So you sprawled here, and then when you went to windshield wiper, we didn't quite clear. Now you cleared. Now you can go to the backside. So it's just a lot of extra movement that we wouldn't have wanted there, okay? But all good. Got to the back take. Yeah, and if their head is buried, you guys can lift on the tops of their heads to expose the neck. I called for it several times here. Not that it matters, though. At this point, you can stall for the rest of the match if you wanted to and not actually attempt to go for submission. And for those of you that go to coach at tournaments that I can't make it to, or if you're coaching because I'm coaching somebody else, you need to listen to how I coach, guys. You need to listen to me when I'm calling out times because these are the same exact things you need to do. Call out times. Coach the people through when they need to stall or when they need to go for things. Those things are actually more important than you trying to coach them through positions, especially if you guys are relatively equal skill levels. or if they're playing a different game than you or a game that you're not used to. And that's why it's also important that we try to make comp class so we're all kind of on the same page as far as our jiu-jitsu games go. Even if we're playing slightly different, we'll understand terminology with each other. I would have liked to see maybe a backside Ezekiel attempt here, Kyle, but I also can't see what you're doing with your left arm there. And now it looks like you're probably going to end up going to chalupa, which leads to the armbar. I don't like the disconnect between your body. So there's huge, massive disconnect between elbow. Regardless if you get that right now in this kid, it doesn't matter, right? So this disconnect right here between your chest and his elbow can't exist, okay? You need to worry less about trying to just rip the armbar at this point and more about closing the distance between body and his elbow, and then it's preference on which type of armbar breaks that you like to go to. You can go towards the legs. That offers slightly more control but sometimes harder breaking power, or you can go towards the head where it offers less control but better grip breaking power, and that's just wherever you have more comfortable reps, but that space can't exist right there, okay? And I don't like bringing the foot in to break grips. I always like bringing the legs over the top of the grip to break, because then you don't lose as much control. When you bring the foot in to kick through, you lose the ability to have your knees control the submission, and it can lead to a scramble on a guy who's timing and waiting for that. Okay, but all things that we can go over, and anybody else who's watching this, please try and make comp class, because these are things that we'll be addressing on Sunday for the next 4 weeks, getting you guys ready for the next Grappling Industries. All right. And then we've got 2 more matches of Kyle's to break down throughout the week. All right, thanks for watching, guys.